Today on the show, it's an old school Q&A video. So you sent me questions, I'm gonna answer them. Quickly before we get into today's video, I've converted my old gaming channel into a Sims channel. The first video's up. I'm really happy with it. I make Sims 4 mods. Like, I make my own careers for my Sims because that's the kind of thing I like to do in my free time. I like to download mods. So it's gonna be a different kind of Sims 4 YouTube Let's Play where I'm making my own stuff and maybe you guys can view how that stuff works. And if you're into The Sims, I'll try and upload it somewhere so you guys can download it. I'm currently in the process of uploading like a Sim High wrestling team mod. So yeah, please come and check it out. Juan Carlos asked, are there any shows growing up that got prematurely cancelled that you would have wanted to continue? The answer to this one is yes, absolutely. The first one that comes to mind is Witch. I have actually been playing with the idea of doing a video on Witch, so please let me know in the comments down below if that's something you want to see. But yeah, I really liked Witch a lot. I felt like the storyline was quite deep for the demographic it was targeted at, and I recently rewatched it just to see if it still holds up, and it absolutely does. I actually spent a lot of my childhood in the Canary Islands, and Witch was huge in the Canary Islands. I don't know what it was, but Witch was everywhere. So I was actually more used to the Spanish dub of Witch than the English dub, though I have seen quite a bit of the English dub as well. But all of my Witch comics are in Spanish, and I don't speak much Spanish whatsoever. Like, I speak enough to get by, but if you asked me to say the words, like, nah, ain't happening. For your Blank Was Blank series, could you do Wolverine and the X-Men, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, or Persona 5 the animation, please? That was a two-parter question. I'm only gonna answer the first half because it's a very quick answer. The answer is yes. I am doing any comic book cartoon that you can imagine. Like, I'm going ham on this series. I had so much fun making the X-Men Evolution video and it was received so well that honestly, this series is like lit a spark in me. Like, you guys have no idea. Dark Magician Magi says, favorite Nico Minoru spell? I'm really fond of Zombie Knot. Basically what happened in the comic is a bunch of people in LA were turned into zombies. Nico wanted to cure them of their zombification by saying zombie knot. But instead, she makes a massive knot of zombies and it creates a giant zombie that's attacking the Runaways. The third run of the Runaways didn't have many great moments. Like, it wasn't the worst run, but it definitely wasn't the best. So when it was good, it was really good by comparison to everything else that was going on around it. So moments like that are really precious to me. Aside from that, I know it's a bit corny, but the series of spells that brought Gert back to life, that's sort of like hit home for me. I think that experience of seeing Gert come back to life is very different if Gert had been dead for you for near enough 10 years, or if you'd only recently got into the Runaways. Like, for me, Gert has been dead for a long time, and I was honestly resigned myself to her never coming back because she was just dead. She was one of those characters that wasn't that popular, that was just dead. And then she came back, and I wasn't expecting it, and I'm really happy she is back. She adds in such a unique dynamic to the current run of the Runaways that I can honestly say it wouldn't be the same without her. So we have Nico Spells to thank for that. Golgotha says, have you been keeping up with Jonathan Hickman's House of X and Powers of X? If so, what are your thoughts on the future of the X-Men based off what you've read so far? I don't really want to get too much into this question because I do have dedicated videos for both of these planned, but yes, I am keeping up with it. If you guys don't know, if you're not reading the comics, basically House of X and Powers of X and all the X-Men comics that are going on at the moment are like a step back in the right direction for the X-Men. It's like a breath of fresh air, a return to form. The X-Men have been in sort of a weird place since, like, I would say Messiah Complex. Some people would say since Avengers vs. X-Men. I would take it back a little bit earlier than that. They just haven't been the X-Men. And this is the first time in a while where everyone in the X-Men fandom is basically saying, yes, this is why we love the X-Men. This is what should have been happening this entire time. So yes, I am keeping up with it. And I'm very excited to see where the X-Men are going. Don't want to talk about my theories just yet, just because I believe these are limited runs. I'm not 100% sure. I believe they're limited runs. I want to wait till the end so I can be like, oh, I thought this was going to happen. So, because if I put it out there, I'll just get disappointed. But these are very good runs of the X-Men. If you want to get into reading the X-Men, start here. Start now. Now is a really good time to start. Paul Brown says, how could you not like Legion? Like this. Gabe Mercedes says, why do you have a habit of wanting to change straight characters gay or bisexual? Examples, Red Devil, Connor Kent, Tim Drake, etc. So I honestly feel like this question comes down to a difference in perspective. And this perspective is just that straight people don't understand what being in the closet is like or what it means, because you can't without being told. So this is me explaining it. When I say I would like for this character to come out as gay or bisexual or pansexual or whatever, I'm not saying that I want their sexuality to change. I'm saying that I believe, based on what I've already read of the character, that they are gay, bisexual, pansexual, or whatever, and have been all along, and they're in the closet or have not realized this about themselves yet. And people have argued, well, if you want gay characters or bisexual characters or whatever, why not just make new ones? And I say, yes, we should make new gay characters that just come as gay, but also we should have existing characters come out as gay, because people that you've known your entire life might come out as gay. They might come out as bi. There needs to be a balance to tell the story of LGBT people realistically in comics and reflect our stories realistically. And obviously when you're trying to represent a group, you should try to reflect their stories realistically, even if it does involve superheroes. So for example, Tim Drake, I believe he's bisexual. Just based on what I've read of him and based on my own experiences with being in the closet, there's a lot of similarities there. I could make an entire video on the number of similarities, but there is just aspects of himself he's consistently holding back, and he can only really open up when he's around Connor. And I was the same way. There are a number of characters that I believe to be just straight, and that includes Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Wolverine, Damian Wayne. You know, there's a whole plethora of characters that I'm just like, they're straight. They're straight. Come on, they're straight. So again, just for emphasis, it's not that I want to change straight characters into being gay or bisexual or pansexual, it's that I believe they've been gay, pansexual, bisexual all along, and they deserve a coming out story. Skull with a Bow says, have you done boxing? Do you know if it helps with mental health issues? So I've never done boxing, but when I lived in America, I did do wrestling, and I did find it really helped me out a lot. And it's one of the things that sort of got me into fitness and working out. If you guys don't know, I am a fully qualified level 4 personal trainer. I don't work as a personal trainer anymore. It's one of the things that I would like to return to. Wrestling is not as prominent in the UK as it is in the US. Like when we have wrestling, it's less scholastic and more WWE. And I'm not really interested in WWE wrestling. Like I don't even watch it, but like freestyle, scholastic, Greco-Roman, that's the kind of stuff that I'm really into, and I would like to return to that. Just there's nowhere near me that does it. So I don't know how I could be trained in it. GOVXR says, what do you think about the Umbrella Academy? Is it good or is it bad? And do you think it's close to the comic? So is it close to the comic? No. And I'll tell you for why. I do not like the Umbrella Academy comic. I don't really like Gerard Way's writing to begin with, so I am a bit biased here, but his writing and me just do not get along. We are on very different wavelengths. The show, I love. I started watching the Umbrella Academy show thinking, this will be a laugh for like 10 minutes. And then I really enjoyed it, and I binge watched the entire thing in less than a day. Like, it was so good. The part that really got me and made me say, okay, this show is really good, is the dancing in the moonlight scene. Like, you guys have no idea how much I love that song. And then it popped up. I had no idea it was gonna pop up. And like, my little heart broke because of the storyline around the episode. Like, that was so good. 10 out of 10 would recommend the Umbrella Academy show. Love that. Favorite character, Klaus. Wicked16 says, do I think Titan Season 2 is a flop? Personally, I didn't even like Titan Season 1. I feel like it's made the mistake that X-Men movies make, where it's missed the core of what the source material is. And so I don't support it. I haven't watched Season 2. I won't watch Season 2. I finished all of Season 1. I really didn't like it. I do just want to say though, if you enjoy the Titans TV show, don't feel bad about liking it. Like, this is just my perspective and my point of view. I'm in no way saying you can't like it or you're a terrible person for liking it. I just feel from my perspective, as a person that's been reading the comics since I was 3 years old, it doesn't carry the core over. And when you're adapting something, I personally believe it needs to carry the core essence of what it's adapting over. and if it doesn't, it's a failure. Zach Hargreaves says, have you ever seen any of the British superhero shows from the noughties, them being Misfits, My Hero, and No Heroics? So I never saw My Hero and No Heroics, but I did watch Misfits a lot. I own all the seasons on DVD. I love Misfits so much. If you guys want me to cover Misfits, just let me know, because I will cover that in an instant. That show was so good. If you guys don't know what it is, it's basically about these teens that end up with these powers. One of them can hear other people's thoughts, one of them can travel through time. Like, it's so good because they're so unprepared in every way, and it's so raw, and the tone of this show is near identical to the tone of the British invasion comics from the late 80s, and I felt like that was something that hadn't been around for a while at that point, and then it came in the form of a TV show, and it was so good. Like, I wish more comic book TV shows would be made like Misfits, because Misfits was so good, and so many other comic book TV shows are like, meh to bad. Okay guys, that is it for today. So do you have any questions for me? Please let me know in the comments down below, and I might just answer them in my next Q&A video. But also don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, do all of my social links. Don't forget to check out my Patreon and support for just $1, and you get early access to all my videos for just $1 a month. But for now, my name is Faust, this is Comics, and it is super effective.